So welcome, David Schreiber, all the way from Boston. Thank you so much for coming to speak with our Osher Lifelong Learning class today. You are part of our solutions and what we can do and how we can vote with our wallet, with our investments. I appreciate that you are one of the few totally green investment managers in the country, and we're very grateful that you're coming today to share some expertise with us. So without further, I'll go ahead and get you to share your screen.
I'm delighted to be here. Okay, so I'm here to talk to you today about fossil fuel-free investing, why you need to do it, what it is, and how you can go about it without putting a drag on your portfolio. Because I am an investment professional, I have to put out this important information about the sources of the material that I'm using. This is all based on data that's believed to be accurate, but I can't make any guarantee. And remember that past performance is no guarantee of future results. I'm sure you've all heard that before. So here we are in a situation where we have to change the world we're in, or we're going to destroy our society. Our democracy is under threat, and our planet is under threat. How are we going to change the world? Well, we've got to confront those corporate powers which more and more influence our politics and control our lives. There are really practical and political reasons to divest from fossil fuels, and the main obstacle is organized and funded opposition by the fossil fuel companies. Realize that if you own fossil fuels, you own climate change. And it's not just owning the environmental impact of these companies, you own their political impacts as well. From their PR campaigns challenging climate science, which has been going on for decades now, to the direct lobbying by oil companies and natural gas companies of the federal, state, and municipal governments to block emissions limits. You are helping build their war chest by investing in them. And even if you're not investing directly, if you hold any index funds, if you have target date funds, those funds all hold fossil fuel companies. So the moral and political reasons to divest from fossil fuels, as I mentioned, the lobbying power, but you can also stop aligning yourself and your institutions with the industry that's driven climate change. And you can add impetus and power to the climate change movement that supports sensible policies. These are very cautious statements that studies have shown there may be negligible long-term negative impact to divesting. And I'm not just talking about divesting, I'm talking about reinvesting in environmentally, socially, and governance screened companies and or funds. It will certainly reduce your risk of holding devalued and potentially stranded assets. And it will put you in a position where you can benefit from companies taking advantage of the demand for greener industries in a low carbon future. So I've been referring to socially responsible investment and ESG investing, ESG standing for environmental, social, and governance, which are the metrics we look at when making our selections of where to put that money. Now, since 1990, we have been running comparisons of the performance of an index of funds based on the S&P 500, but with companies that violate the environmental, social, and governance standards removed from that portfolio. This has been called the Domini Social Index. It's now called the MSCI KLD 400. And that is the green line in this graph. And as you can see, it is pretty well matched and slightly beaten the S&P 500 between 1990 and 2015. This has gotten even more dramatic more recently. This current picture goes through 2018. And then we have a slightly different graph showing the performances or comparison up until the end of December of last year. And here I'm using the Green Century Index Fund, which eliminates any exposure to fossil fuels. The red line is the Green Century, the blue line is the S&P 500. And as you all know, it fell toward the end of the year, and then in March fell even more extremely. So the power of divestment, what it does, again, is reduces the power of the industry trade associations, front groups, lobbyists, and experts to influence regulation and legislation and even public discourse. And it will help grow a powerful climate change movement by taking away the social license of the fossil fuel companies. So we need to move our money and protect our planet. I love this mom and pop. It's my guru provided me with it, Rabbi Arthur Waskow. I don't have quotes from him right here, but there's a number of good ones out there. Also, think about your banking. Are you using the major banks? Notice the banks that funded the Dakota Access Pipeline. I know that that is now pretty much defunct because it is totally impractical to process tar sands, which is what the pipeline was meant to carry, when the price of oil is well below the $120 per barrel that it had been at the time this was conceived. Oil is now around a little less than $40 a barrel, and a few months ago you would have gotten paid $34 a barrel if you had had space to store it. The demand has fallen off by that much. So these major banks, of which JP Morgan Chase is the worst, lead the list, but it includes Wells Fargo, Citibank, Bank of America, and quite a few others. So what can you do with your money instead? I highly recommend, if you have access to them, using a credit union or a cooperative bank. Both of these structures offer you membership by simply depositing your money there. Both of these structures use your money for local loans, for businesses, for mortgages, for car loans, for consumer loans, but mainly to their members, but also to the broader community. But they do not bundle the mortgages and sell them off to a third party to create the kind of mortgage-backed securities that created the crash of '09. If you don't have access to those, look for a small local bank, again, because it's more likely to be putting its money right back into your community. The major banks are putting it into deforestation of the Amazon, into fossil fuels of various sorts, and a number of other things where you would not want your money to be. And they charge you all kinds of fees. One of the reasons I hear people resisting moving their money is, well, the ATMs are hard to get to. But all of these smaller banks will reimburse whatever charges the major banks apply when you use the ATMs. So that's not really an excuse. So, my friends, as they used to say at the end of the old Talkin' Union Blues, take it easy, but take it. We're all in this together. And if you want further information, you can go to my website, which is www.greenvest.eco. If you have specific questions, please feel free to contact me. Here's my information on the screen. It's david@greenvest.eco, and the phone number is 781-640-2182. Thank you.
David, thank you very much. Awesome, concise. A lot to think about.
I didn't run my stopwatch, so I have no idea how long that took, but it didn't feel